Hello and welcome to another episode of Pipeline to Profitability. I'm Alan Ferguson. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Service Success Academy. So today, part two, joined by Billy Stevens. Billy's a serial entrepreneur, as well the CEO and founder of Sera Systems, Billygo, also the founder of Berkeys Plumbing and Air Conditioning. So today we're going to continue the workshop on using software to improve profitability via efficiencies, zero service fees, margin pricing versus flat rate pricing, and if time permits, we're going to discuss simplified incentive plans. So before we bring you into this episode, we're going to do a third workshop for anything we didn't cover in the second, and that's going to be towards the end of August, maybe early September. So thanks for joining me. Enjoy this podcast. So welcome everyone. I know we're letting everyone join us as we speak. Now today is a continuation from the last workshop we did with Billy Stevens, and we're going to I'm going to hand you over to Billy in a minute, but I just want to say that we're also going to this, you'll notice I've got my pipeline to profitability background. We may utilize some of this content at a later date in our podcast, because one of the most listened to podcasts that I've done was the one with Billy. And also, thanks for everyone for joining us. Also, the last workshop we did a few weeks back got a really great response, and I don't think there's anyone out there in plumbing, electrical, HVAC that doesn't want to improve the efficiency of their business. So a couple of things I'm going to throw at Billy today, and as I said, we're going to open this up, but there has been a really hot topic on zero dispatch fees, and I'm hoping we can dig into that a little bit. But the other areas that we may discuss, Billy, and this is dependent on your time, of course, because I know everyone would like to hang around and listen to some of your insights, some of your wisdom. But it's I'm very passionate about anything that can improve profitability, like memberships, your margin pricing, basically everything that you're doing within the Sera software product. So again, I'm going to hand you over to Billy Stevens, the founder of Sera Software and Billygo. Welcome, Billy, and thanks for joining myself and all of our guests today.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Alan, I appreciate you having me on again. Great time last time. And like you said, we did have a record turnout for that in downloads, I believe. I try to keep my information very basic and simple as I can. At the same time, it may be a complicated subject, but I try to keep it as simplified as possible. And I just want to go on record to saying that I don't really throw anything out there that I can't back up. And that's what makes me different. I'm actually using a company to test everything we do. That's very unusual. No one's ever stopped to take their company and maybe we're doing something and we want to try something different. And so we'll literally change the way we go to business the next day to try something different. And that doesn't exist in any other company. And so I just want everybody to know that we are really putting in the work to get this information for you guys, so you can start figuring out if you want to be, use what we're talking about, or if you just want to watch and see if we implode ourselves. I don't know, whatever your fits your fancy there. So first and foremost, the one thing I want to hit on is this weekend to me, when I wrote the article, wasn't controversial at all to me. I was just making a point about not charging dispatch fees, and I haven't charged a dispatch fee in over 4.5 years. The reason why we never went to a dispatch fee, because it was working so well. We were ready to go try dispatch fees at different price amounts. And we found out that we kept getting chosen from the data we were getting because we weren't putting that barrier up. That we were like, hey, well, we're here to help you, is what the messaging is to our customer base. And when I talk about these numbers, I'm not just talking about Billygo. My customers that are on Sera are experiencing the same thing that we're experiencing when they use these techniques. And so these companies are some of them are doing better than Billygo because of this stuff that we're doing. And so it's just not one individual company or just me doing it. When we try it, I've got 3 other companies that are on the same testing background that we are. They get the stuff prior to anyone else in our organization. That's any of our customers on Sera. They get it first when Billygo gets it, and all 4 of us test it, and then we give our information back to one another about what we found out. So with that being said, I just appreciate everybody that's come on here, and let's talk a little bit about how I managed to not charge dispatch fees, but how do I collect full labor rate the whole time? And that's really what the article is about. And it's hard to write about something like that because I get the dispatch fee, I get the diagnostic fee, I get the guy sitting at the gas station putting gas in his truck fee, I get the warehouse guy sitting back there eating peanuts out of a bag fee. I get all the fees, everything that costs me to run a business. And I do this because of job time efficiency. And job time efficiency is really what I'm trying to get to here when I made that post this weekend. So there is a way now, and we've been doing this for over 6 months. There is a way now to collect for every minute of everyone's time. That is really what I'm trying to do here. It's not about a dispatch fee. It's not about any of that. It's about how do we stop looking at a call by using a dispatch fee to determine whether it's a good call or not. We're just blindly, you have to admit, we're blindly blocking a call without even knowing a thing about it when we have a large dispatch fee or we market dispatch fees. There's a lot of consumers out there that do not want to pay these fees that will buy from you all day long. I've proven it. I've seen it for over 4.5 years. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to start looking at the data. We're going to do this together. All right. If y'all could just give me a thumbs up that you can see this. All right, good. All right. So this is Billygo, our biggest test dummy, if you will. Kind of like me, right? We're almost at $5 million this year. We're up 35%. We didn't even have a business 4.5 years ago. It didn't even exist. No name, nothing. Never bought a company, never acquired a customer list, nothing. Almost $5 million already this year in one of the worst weathers situations you could have in DFW. It just will not get hot here. And it did not get cold all winter. I think the average temp this winter was around 60 degrees with no freezing days, just a few hours of freezing. And as you can see, the revenues just continue to grow. And because the first thing that I built when I built Sera was a way for a customer to do business for us. I made it so simple for a customer to choose us by getting rid of all the complications, dispatch fees, not enough call takers, if you will. So we booked a lot of calls online. I know you've heard me say this before, but Angie's List and Home Advisor are both billion-dollar companies, and neither one of them have a single CSR, not one CSR. So I'm not saying get rid of your CSRs. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying here. I have CSRs as well. But online booking is what people want. They want press a button booking. They want to be able to book a call and do it quickly. They want an Uber in every experience they have. And so we're providing that experience, and that's why we get chosen. And so this is what I want to talk about a little bit. So almost 5 million in revenue, and we're in our worst quarter, Q1, in the middle of our second quarter right now, which is beginning of something big, hopefully. And looks like we're projecting to do about 16 million based off of what we've done so far this year in a business that's not even 5 years old. Now, what I want to talk to you about, what's really happens here is I'm going to go to my reporting section, and there's this report here called job times. And this is how I prove to you what we're doing. Now then, I'm going to set the time. We'll just use the first quarter of this year, previous quarter. Let's do that, which would be our worst quarter of the year. Q1 is not very friendly in air conditioning in Dallas-Fort Worth, or heating, if you will. During this time, we were 81% efficient. Now, Gallup poll did a research in our industry and said we're 38% efficient. So we're more than double what the industry is as a whole, according to Gallup poll. You can Google this, you can find that report, you can do all that. So what I've done here, instead of judging a call by whether they pay a dispatch fee or not, we judge a call by what the problem is. We find out what's going on. If it's not a fit for us, let's just say it's a low-level call, we give them a time that's a couple of days off from now. If it's a perfect fit for what we want to do today to make money, we do it today, and we do it rather quickly. And so we're deciding what's a good call and a bad call once we know what the call is, not based off of a dispatch fee to keep people from booking a call. We talk to the people, figure out what it is, and then decide if we're going to go do it immediately or some other time. That is the key. You're paying so much money for these clicks. Let's get the calls in to determine which ones are the best ones so that we can make the most amount of money. So this report for this first quarter of this year includes 0 ticket calls. You'll see right here. We spent 1 hour and 7 minutes on this call and we got no money for it. We spent 1 hour and 10 minutes on this call and we got no money for it. However, when we do sell something, we're at 211%, 134%. And this adds up over time and gets us paid for these 0 ticket calls. Does this make sense? What I'm saying is when the job time efficiency is telling us what our average is, we know how much we need to charge for the ones that we actually sell. Now let's change this report to the jobs that we actually sold during this time. These are only calls that we sold and we collected money on. Look at our efficiency, 101%. That means we are charging for every minute of everyone's time when we actually do the work. This can't be done unless you have a price book that actually understands time so that you can figure out whether or not you need to improve the time in a certain task, or maybe you've got too much time in a task, or whatever it is that you may be experiencing. You now have the information at your fingertips to tell you how well your price book is helping you to get your pricing right. And so I know that if we sold something, we're going to get 100% efficiency, meaning if we say we're going to make $200 profit on this job at 101% efficiency, we're going to make $200 on that job. There's no more guessing. And coming soon, more towards the end of this year, we'll be able to give you your profitability on the call the second you close it out with money. You're going to know exactly what your gross profit is the second that you close that call. Right now, this is labor time that I am dealing with at the moment. Now, I'm going to grab a random call. Here's 4 calls out of 4. That means that we went to this call 4 times, just the one call. In our world at Sera, in my world at Billygo, and all the companies that I've ever run, you count the 0 ticket calls to get your average. And so what Sera can do is actually keep adding the same people to the same, or different people and different appointments to the same call. So we know that we actually went there 4 different times. So let's go look and see what we did. Okay, so this is that Melody Reyna lady that's 4 different calls. All right, let me go back one. I'm going to go to, where's she at? There it is. Do it this way. I'll give you some more detail. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. So we sold this job for $11,684. Here's our summary of how much time 4 different calls cost us in travel time, 3 hours and 11 minutes. So that's everybody that ever touched this job's travel time that we have to charge for. All the people on this job worked over 21 hours and 33 minutes for a total cost to the company of 24 hours and 44 minutes worth of labor cost and cost to do this job. But we sold 38 hours and 20 minutes worth of work and finished it 13 hours earlier than we expected because our guys did a great job and got her done. Now, Lynn, let's talk about these calls. Here's those 4 appointments. This is number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. And this is number 4. So it was originally booked online, by the way, because she logged into her online portal to book this call. So I didn't use any resources at the office. Matthew Mathis got this call on the 3rd. He traveled an hour and 5 minutes. He worked an hour and 11 minutes for 2 hours and 16 minutes worth of total time billed to this call. We haven't collected any money yet, guys. This could be potentially be a 0-ticket call, and we have 2 hours and 16 minutes in this. Why is this important? Because once we find out how often we don't sell calls and how much time that wastes, we can figure out how much time to charge for all of our calls to get that money back in our pockets. The second, he went on the 3rd. I want you to notice that. The second day on the 4th, he traveled 25 minutes to the job and worked another hour and 38 minutes for a total hour, 2 hours and 3. We're 4 hours and 19 minutes into this thing, and we're still working on it. Third time Matthew was involved in this call. It says he traveled 23 minutes but didn't work. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to see what happened. So that was on, let's look at the day, 1/6, 11 o'clock. What happened on 1/6 at 11 o'clock? Let's see. There's the 6. Matthew met with an insurance adjuster and went over the scope of the job. So that's what Matthew did on this particular job. So literally, we charged the time that he was on the phone with this guy. All right. The reason why we have travel time, because I haven't built in exactly, I could have put phone time in here. We haven't built that part yet to keep up with how much time he's on the phone. So he met with the insurance adjuster for 23 minutes, and obviously the insurance adjuster approved the job. So a 4th appointment was created. Pedro, with his helper Cody, riding together, rode 39 minutes to the job for an hour and 18 minutes combined. They both work 9 hours and 22 minutes each for a total of 20 hours. I have exact cost of everything. And guys and girls that are watching this is automated. Nobody had to go in here and do a bunch of data information and typing all this stuff in and figuring all this out. This is Sera keeping up with it. All right. Any questions on any of this before I move on? Because sometimes this creates a lot of questions. So I am giving you more information than anyone's ever had before. I'm giving it to you in time-stamped intervals. I can even keep up with when a guy talks on the phone. Oh, right here, sorry. And all the people that touch that job. And it's all automated.
Thanks, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, just quickly, I know I saw Rod put his hand up. Great. But I just want to, I've been following the conversations on the Zero service calls. You definitely sparked interest in quite a few groups. And I'd just like to, it's always been something that we've tried it, we've tested it. And I think when you first put your Saturday post up and got all the attention and in our groups as well, the first thing I picked up was who's A/B split tested this. So I think you're getting a lot of feedback from guys that are just against the idea of attending a call at zero. But one thing, my observations of the industry and been playing it not quite as long as you, Billy, or maybe I have, not playing it as well, is that most companies have a service fee, dispatch fee, let's say from 29 to 89. Now, and my comment when I noticed some attention is, what friggin' planet is everyone from thinking that actually covers the cost to get a technician in a fully stopped truck to a service call when you look at the billable hour efficiency? And I estimated, with working with hundreds of companies in the US and Australia, that cost is actually anywhere from 150 to 250, and in Australia higher. So you're losing X on every call depending on what you charge. My thoughts were, well, why not take that, increase your billable rate by, might be a couple of bucks an hour, and you I'm hoping you'll touch on your margin pricing, and why not split test it? And I think that was, am I correct in saying, Billy, that was the whole point, was, have you tested this? And knowing you as long as I have, I think you're on the money. And I think this is a really great, the fact that you had so much feedback and reaction from the plumbers, God bless them. But I just wanted to throw that in, and I'm not too sure if you wanted to respond before we bring Rod in, but back to you, Billy or Rod.
Sure. So we've been A/B testing this for about 4 years now, and the report of job time efficiency is about 8 months old. And so we tested it and used spreadsheets the hard way. And then we finally were able to get it built. It took about 7 months for us to build this into our software. I mean, it's not like it was overnight. This is easy. It's doing a lot of thinking for us and helping us. And so it took about 7 months for our team to actually build this in our software. And once we got it 8 months ago, we started using it. And then now we started taking the data and then A/B testing against, everything, every possible scenario. But we already knew that we were seeing a lot of success over the last 4.5 years without charging a dispatch fee, because we were getting opportunities that other people weren't getting because they were charging such a high upfront fee. And, people with money are the cheapest people. But yet they're the ones that'll spend the money when it comes to someone giving them great information and being upfront and honest about it. And so a customer with money, they're going to look for no dispatch fee. I'm going to tell you that right now. They are. They're going to look for somebody that can come right now and not give them any barriers. That's what they care about. Their time is money, not a dispatch fee. Their time is money. They're not looking at your fee. They're looking at their own fee. What does it cost me now that I have to deal with this plumber or this HVAC guy? And that's how a customer looks at it. They're not looking at it any other way than that. I've got a problem. I need to get it fixed. And we need to stop putting up the barriers so that this doesn't happen. And so lots of testing has gone into this, lots of money to build this, but now it's done, or half done. I'll have the gross margin for you at the end of the year. Another 6 or 7 months of building just to do the other half. But the testing has come out in the pudding. We can see the results, and we're charging for those minutes. And what Alan said is $150 to $250 to send a tech out. Well, it's low. It's much higher than that, because you just paid $100 for the PPC ad, right? That was $100 on itself. And then you got to roll a truck. You got to pay for that building, for that truck rolling. You got to pay for the electricity in that building while that truck's rolling. You got to pay for those tires that are rolling. You got to pay for those oil changes and that wear and tear on that truck, and replace the daggone thing every 3 to 4 years, because they don't make them to last anymore, right? And And so I'm more worried about collecting all that stuff than I am a dispatch fee. Just being totally honest with you. And so the real cost, in my opinion, is if you're using flat rate and your flat rate price is $400 an hour, this is just a quick, easy way to figure it up. And it takes a guy 30 minutes to get over there. That's $200. That's plain and simple. The average drive time in any major city is 30 to 40 minutes between calls. So $89, $59, $119, doesn't matter what you charge. You're not getting the money. You're not covering the cost. So why don't we build a system that will help us cover all those costs? Why don't we implement systems that will help us cover those costs by the minute, by knowing exactly what we need to charge instead of guessing what we need to charge? Because my software is going to tell you exactly what you need to be charging.
Love it, Billy. I think this is, in my view, it's one of the best topics to come up for a while, except for I think we had some heated debate over memberships some time back, which I freaking love, because you and me both know that memberships are friggin' gold in any company. And I don't want to mention names about who started this, but memberships are dead and all that crap. Like, seriously? But anyway, so before I bring Rod in, because Rod's got a question today, I'd just like to say to everyone on the call, we ain't bagging any products, any other services out there. We're not going to mention names of other software companies or anything. Okay, we're just going to keep this clean. In my view, anyone that is out to improve the industry in any way, shape, or form needs to be, just give them all the respect. And that's the way I believe in doing business. Respect your competition. Don't badmouth them. And I just wanted to throw that in. Rod, do you want to unmute yourself and throw your best at my man, Billy?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Of course.
Yeah, be easy on me, Rod.
I gave you some tough questions last time.
Yes, sir.
But I hope some people learned from them, so it wasn't just for me. I'm gonna make it quick. First, I'm assuming that we go in live next Monday with Sera, so yeah, we are on board. I just talked to Jennifer. We are done everything. We're gonna be going live on Monday, next Monday. My question is that trip fee, do you calculate it in the price of your hourly rate in calculation? And then, for example, if the job take 2 hours and on average, say for a exterior drain, do you put like maybe 2 hours and 2 hours and 10 minutes just to cover that little, or is that's not how it is?
Sera,
yeah.
Sera, yes, sir, we do calculate for it. Sera will actually tell you your average drive time for every call. It'll tell you straight up what it is.
Okay.
We average about 31 minutes in my office, and we only go 15 miles, so there's still traffic, right?
Yeah.
But it's about 31 minutes, and all that is calculated in. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's awesome. So the second question is, and I promise I make it quick. On the reports, it doesn't show that the guys, like if the job has 2 technicians, only showing opportunity guy in the report for the revenue earned. How can we track the number for the second guy?
So in work crews, we have what's called work crews in Sera. And so therefore you always decide who's going to ride with that guy. And you go into the work crews tab, send him with that guy. And then now you're tracking his time as well, even though he doesn't even have an iPad or anything. I mean, we're tracking him.
Okay, got it. Okay, now it makes sense, because I was a little bit confused. That's it for me. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you for your question.
Thanks, Rod. I'll just get you to mute yourself there, buddy. Now, just in the chat, we've got, I don't know if Rick, if you want to bring your question to the group, but I'll just put this question I'll state it. You're happy to. I'm happy for you to jump in, Rick. Just curious if dispatcher is entering or verifying the info. That's how I read the question.
We'd be a
Not
little
too-
more specific, like verifying what type of info. What are we talking about?
You said that the info, this is Rick here. You said the info was being entered automatically. So who's like responsible for tracking all of that data? And are they making adjustments and entering for those out in the field that may not be able to enter it appropriately?
So Sera tracks all the communication, all the texts, emails, phone calls, tracks it all. Records it, retracts it, keeps up with it, amount of time spent on it, does all that stuff. So there's no real physical person entering a bunch of data. So if a lady picks up a phone call to call that customer, Sera will track it. It's right in those notes that, let me show you again. All right, so anything that ever happens on this job, no one's going in here and really entering it. You can audit this stuff if you want and make change. But this is telling us when we completed a job, when we got paid for it, who took the money, finished the trip, started the trip, left message letting customer know the plumbers are on the way. This was all done internally. Signed, assignments, appointments, job completes, all these different job completes, emails sent out, text messages sent out, all this stuff is all handled, call created, all this stuff. We keep up with everything.
Very nice.
Let me
Fantastic.
let me just show the work crew real quick. I apologize for that. Am I still sharing?
Yep. No, you're not. We can see you.
Okay. Sorry.
But your screen share is now gone.
All right. Now can you see it?
Yep.
All right.
Just
sorry,
need to
guys.
expand it.
Sorry, everybody.
Perfect.
Right, so you go to, let's just AC Tech, and then we have work crews, right? And so you have these different technicians. This is the work crew for technicians. So if you ever want to pair up two technicians, maybe you're training somebody new or whatever, you want to job cost that guy. So you can just take this guy and slide him over there to him. And now they're both being tracked on these calls and how much it costs us to run those calls, even while you're training somebody. Now, if you go to helpers, AC installers, work crews. Now you have we have three AC install teams, and these are the Gio, Miguel, and Rufino are the leads, and then these are the guys that ride with them. And so as you can see, they have been attached to these guys, and so therefore we're now tracking all of their data. And then if I just wanted, it's so simple. I can just take Sebastian and move him right over here. I can't do it. This is live, so I don't want to mess up what's going on in Billygo. And so this is how we keep up with everyone's time. And so it'll also remember it. If you want them to always be the same guys together, then you just set it and forget it. But if you want to move them around, you can do that as well. Okay.
So if I could follow up from that question, then it appears that this system not only does service in an excellent manner, but you're able to do long-term projects, projects that are going to take several days, quite a few different guys mixed in.
Yeah, so we're making even more improvements to do that as well. We right at this point we have what's called actually projects is what it's going to be called. And it's going to give you even more flexibility so you can be in a more automated process. But already, if you sell a job, I think this job, if I remember right, I think it said 38 hours when it was initially built or whatever. Sera does a lot for that 38 hours. Now then, if you put two guys on the job and it's 19 hours, it allots for it because it's figuring that those two guys are going to get the job done in half the time, right? So that's how we stay on top of things. You put three guys on there, then you should get it done in 3 times faster, I would assume, when we know that that's not true, because you have, everyone can't work as fast as one person or whatever, but whatever may happen, you get a good point of what your job time efficiency is. Even if you added a third person, you will,
based on single man hours.
you'll know if it worked or not. So
Thanks, Billy. Listen, we've got Jimmy's iPad. I'm guessing the name's Jimmy. How about new construction? Now, I'm just throwing the questions at you, and I would presume that there would be, most companies that we work with are residential, but there is still some companies that do a percentage of construction as well. Is that a problem for Sera?
So that's part of the reason why we're building this projects part of the software, so that we can manage projects that are set off into the distance. They have dates, like you do a rough in next week, and then 2 weeks later, maybe you do the top out or whatever, and then in the finish out a month and a half later, whatever it is. So that's part of what we're building this projects part for, so you can plan for the future.
That's fantastic. Yeah, look, we'll go as long as Billy can keep going. And last
I'll
time,
go until we get all the questions answered.
That's great. So there's a lot of people on this call today, and again, thank everyone that joined in. I just wish there was a product like this many years ago. We didn't really have anything to this level, but one thing I want to say about, and just to repeat what Billy's already said, I haven't met anyone as committed to testing via the numbers and via the data as Billy Stevens, with building this product based on his service company, and everything is tested, right? And it's not just with your own company, it's with all the users, but data's where it's at. And what, I know I touched on this in the last workshop we did, and I've been preaching this for years. And it comes back to efficiencies, and you have the numbers on the average across the industry, and I think we're under 40%. I've been saying that for the last 15 years. We always had a goal of being at a 50% billable efficiency, and at that efficiency we would hit our 25% net profit goal. But very, very, very few companies actually get to that efficiency unless they're using a product like Sera. So I think I'd like to throw that at you, and also just another question from Joey about the onboarding costs. So I'm not too sure what he means by that, but I still believe, Billy, that efficiencies, in my opinion, and I know we concur, is the biggest area of focus in a service company, right?
Yeah, that's all we're all about, is efficiency from every single source, and anything we can improve, we're going to do it. And so I've got the list of questions pulled up. If you want me to go through them, I can just touch on all of these. So the first one that we got was just curious if the dispatchers in are verifying the info. Yes, they can enter, and they can verify. They can. Majority of it we try to do automatically, but dispatchers still in full control. Will it keep up with tech time? And so, yeah, you scroll over the first day's call, you'll get the start time when they actually arrived, because we don't have to pay them to drive to the first call. You pay them to arrive at the first call, and then you can see when they were done at the end of the day. We do have a time card system that we are building, so all of this would be automated and just uploaded into your however you pay. So that'll be a lot easier when we have that piece finished. Are the calls recorded? Yes, all the calls are recorded. What about pictures? We have, our tech app is amazing. You can load up as many pictures as you want, and they go straight into to where they're supposed to go. There's no one has to do it later when they come back to the office, or someone in the office doesn't have to do it. This is all automated, and we can load up pictures. We timestamp them so that we can see exactly when that photo was taken so that we can compare it to the notes that are on, different calls from the same customer. In order to collect the information from the customer, I'm not really sure. I don't really know what they're asking there. So if Ashley, if you want to give me a little more detail, I'd be happy to help you out. And in new construction, we just talked about, we're working on this projects part. That's going to make it a lot easier for you guys. But one thing you're going to learn on even on new construction is what are your real costs? Let's figure that out, right? And then book your demo. Oh, okay. There's a book a demo link. And then what is onboarding costs? Well, unless you're an enterprise company, and to us, an enterprise company is usually 20 trucks or more, there is no onboarding cost. In about 30 days, we're going to have self-onboarding. So it's going to be gamified and super simple. You can onboard yourself and literally start using Sera as fast as you want, that you can do the onboarding with. Or you can still use one of our people through the entire process. I'm sure Rod will tell you that he's been in constant contact with his onboarder, and they're always with him. They're always there to answer his questions. We get back to people. Our customer service is unheard of, is how good it is. And if he wanted to touch on that, he's welcome to. And I don't even know what your experience is, Rod, so I'm taking a chance here. Go for it.
I'll just quickly jump in.
I think you're on mute.
I've been pushing Rod for a while to come across, and I knew he was going to eventually do it, but it will, as I've said, Rod, it'll probably be the biggest, best investment you've made into your business, besides working with Alan Ferguson and his drain coaching. And that's that. I'm not trying to sell anyone on that. I just wanted to make that obvious to you, Rod. But so I'd love to hear from you, Rod, on your experience so far. And I know Billy's been telling me for many years now about the level of service and the difference that Sera has over each and every other competitor in your space. And just one thing that I want to say is we were so impressed with your learning center that we actually incorporated that into our own business as well, for coaching contractors. So, but yeah, Rod, your experience so far with everything that you've done, moving across to Sera from, we won't mention where you've come, but
is it? I'm
I can't hear him.
we lost you, Rod. You might have to repeat that, my friend.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was saying that I hope that this question is for me, not for, we don't have another Rod on the call, do we?
No, it's for Helly Hansen.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm joking. That's what your shirt says. I'm guessing that's, yeah. No, Rod, it's you, my man.
Okay. All right. So my experience with Sera is so far the onboarding. We are still in the onboarding process. The gals are great. I also, they answer me about like those questions that are really not related to Sera, and they go and find answers for me. This morning we had a meeting with Jennifer for the whole technicians. All the technicians were involved in that meeting, and they really have a positive first impression. They think it is simple. It's gonna make their life easier. They like that when you don't hit, you can't start the job unless you hit finish the trip, which was always a struggle for us because guys always forget to hit start and finish and all these good stuff. So I think gonna make us better on tracking the time for driving and for the actual time on the job. The scheduling, the dispatcher cannot really mess it up, because if the technician is not available, that time for him is not going to be clickable. So she only can schedule the technician when he's available. That's a big plus. She used to, and I'm not picking on her, but sometimes when we get really busy, she used to schedule, double book the guys, and causing a lot of frustration. I don't think she can, or any scheduler can, a dispatcher can double book anybody right now with the Sera, the way that the scheduling for Sera work. So that's so far my experience, all positive. I hope I gave you some good insights.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Oh, sorry, Billy, I'll let you go, my man.
No, I just wanted to say thank you for telling everyone your experience. And I did not pay him for that answer. So
Maybe later.
It's yeah, thanks, Rod. You are, look, I just want to say, Rod, I've been working with Rod for 6 months now, and this guy seriously implements. And it's what is the biggest difference between all the companies that I've worked with. The information's out there, the content's out there, but Rod actually does get in and do what's got to be done. And you don't have to implement too fast. You just go at your own pace. And yeah, it's a credit to you, Rod, and good move, my man. So I've got another question. I just want to make sure, did we cover does your price book automatically change minute by minute? That's from North Star Dulles.
great question. Great question. So the current answer is no, because we gather data and it makes this, you can make decisions once you have data. We just signed a partnership with BlueOn. If you guys don't know what BlueOn is, just go to BLUON.com. It's a pretty awesome thing. And so we are now working on that. Our price book will be able to change pricing based on how busy you are, be able to change pricing based on, should I say this or not? Okay, I'll say it. Credit score. Before you even go, you know if they can buy or not. That's what we're working on. So yeah, that's coming.
It's pretty much, am I right in saying it's pretty much what most big companies do anyway? The reality of the world.
Well, I mean, that information's out there, so we're just grabbing it. Right. So we're just going to grab that info, and instead of booking calls based off of what you think priority is, won't we bank off of who can buy, who can afford to pay for it? Right.
Fantastic. So have we were down for a 45-minute session today, workshop. Have we got any more questions for Billy? And now is definitely your opportunity. If there's anything you can think of, don't be shy. I can personally guarantee Billy will he will be able to answer that question, I hope. And yeah, so and I apologize too. When I started reading off the questions, I missed the first few that popped up on the screen. So let me just come down. Mr. Frosty to everyone. When is that coming? And I'm not too sure. Billy might. And can we make some templates for quotes? So maybe Mr. Frosty might want to jump in on when. I'm presuming
which part is coming. I'm not sure.
When is that coming? And I'm asking that. I'm guessing that would be. I'm just going to scroll up on the previous question. Not too sure. The credit score thing.
Oh, all I can say is soon. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we make some templates?
Soon.
Can we make some templates for quotes? Sorry to jump in, Billy.
I love this question. Probably my favorite one today. We don't use templates. We don't use forms. We built a tech app that actually helps the tech flow, so you can get all the information you want without asking them to do something they hate to do, which is fill out a form. but we still get the information. And that is what's different about our tech app. And that is why we're experiencing $781,000 for every truck we put on the road. That is why these companies are growing 20, 40, 50% in 6 months on Sera. We get rid of the stuff that, think about it. I mean, none of us went to college, I would imagine, that's on this call. I didn't. I got into trades because I wanted to work. I needed to support myself, my family, right? I just needed to work and I didn't want to go to school. I hated school. Couldn't wait to finish. I did finish, fortunately. But high school. And last thing I want to do is fill out a form because I couldn't stand filling out doing homework.
Well, what I meant, Billy, is like for jobs that we run into a lot, instead of building codes every time.
If you have a special government form or something like that, we can put those in with in using PDFs, right? But if it's running a call form, we don't need it because we actually will get you what you want. You know, we all struggle to get that model number, serial number on HVAC equipment, model number, serial number on water heaters and all this stuff. Well, we just put it in the flow of the call and it has to happen. So you can close the call. So these are the things that we do differently. And that's how I look at it. Now, if it's a government form that you have to have on every call, like some states have a 3-day right of refusal or whatever, then it has to be documented and all that stuff. We can do all that. We have customers to do that too. We even set it up on DocuSign and they can DocuSign it and you see it. You see when they open it, you see all the details on it. And so that's all easily done. That's not a big issue there. But what I'm talking about is the flow of the call is we don't use forms for that. We get the info the way we run calls.
I love that, Billy. The fact that you are, I mean, you're not only giving the market what it wants as far as your customers, you're giving the technicians and look, anyone that's been in the industry for as long as us know that our biggest customer is our technicians, right? And when they're on board,
Our only customer in my world.
Yeah, when they're on board, exactly, the whole game changes. And, you know, I don't think there'd be a company on the planet that hasn't encountered technician resistance in some way, shape or form. And what I'm seeing you're doing with Billygo and Sera is that you're making that work, and you are changing the industry. And that's nothing, as I said before, it's not saying that all the other products out there are bad, but they ain't got what you got. You've built this product you've got the foundations right. You're building, I believe you're building the industry standard. And I'm proud to call you a friend and get you on the workshop again, but I'm just gonna, another couple of questions. Excuse me if we've already covered it, but Joey, are you running Billygo on flat rate and commission?
No. But that's let me explain.
Good.
So yes, we use a flat rate price, meaning it's $100 to do this, right? That's flat rate, right? But the way we figure that price is what is different. Okay. So we end up with $100 if that's what it is. But nowhere on a financial statement or a profit and loss statement, when you do your financials, and I hope all of you are doing your financial statements, and I hope you're learning to read them. And if you're not, find someone that will teach you. If not, we'll teach you in Sera Academy. But you need to, and your report card, if you will, is your financial statement, right? And so we use margin pricing because margins are a part of a financial statement. And one of the things that we struggle with in this industry is we build our price at 400 whatever per hour on a flat rate price. And then we get our financial statements or we look at our checkbook and there's no money in the bank. And so the reason that is because the financial pricing model, the way we currently figure it up as an industry, does not allow for variables. And that's what's wrong with that calculation. And so we have a very simplified calculation. We get all of our numbers from previous financial statements or tax returns. so that we can figure out exactly what your pricing should be. And then now you can directly affect your financial statements and start showing yourself more profitability because you know what levers to pull. And that is what's different. Yes, we end up at the same one price for something, but the way we do it is it's so much easier than figuring out flat rate, and it's perfectly accurate. And so that's what we use. And I've been using this model for 25 years now and kept it to myself for 20 of those years. And was able to create the most profitable company ever in the history of the trades in my first company. And now I'm trying to beat that with my new company. In fact, we are, but we were doing this in the 90s and the 2000s and making the kind of money that still isn't being made by the average service company. And this is one of the ways we do it with margin pricing. So we can directly know what it costs to run our business. And now with job time efficiency, we're just getting it totally dialed in. And so that answers that. Now, commissions, we don't pay commissions to our technicians. We have a patent pending pay system that we share with every Sera user. I've been using this since 2003. We don't ever run ads for plumbers or HVAC people or installers. We've never had to run ads. Our guys get us more techs, more plumbers, more installers because they just show them how much they make and how they make it and how easy it is. And that's how we get more people. That's how we grow companies. That's how we keep them busy all year long. So we don't confuse them with confusing commissions, spiffs, bonuses, all that stuff that just complicates your payroll and confuses everyone. And you'll spend way too much time on it, or someone does. We just simplified that whole thing where the technicians know exactly how they're being paid. That's a whole nother podcast we could probably do just on that. I would love to do at some future point. And then back to the credit card thing. I think it's, when is that coming? And he said the credit score thing. End of the year, probably first quarter. It'll be done probably. It's a hard thing to say when you're in software. You know, the difference between a software company and an HVAC plumbing company is I can go into Billygo tomorrow morning and make a change and see the effects Wednesday morning. Doesn't work like that in software. You have to rebuild the house every time you try to put something new in. You have to start where the concrete was poured or where the plumbing was put under the ground every time and go back up. And that's why it takes a lot of time. It's hard to forecast exact dates. Is the tech app part of Sera? Absolutely. So there's the tech app, the admin, and the customer portal. All three of those things talk together. That's how we know where every tech is. That's how we know who's available. That's how we know who the best tech is for the best job. All that stuff is all automated because those three things do their own job along with the price book. And that's how we make all this stuff work. We're not a one-dimensional software. We're actually doing things to create results from different avenues. This is the new way of technology. A whole nother couple of levels from what's currently out there. Our technology is, to give you an example, our competitors using old style way of building code. They basically build data tables and they keep stacking data tables, and then they end up with hundreds and hundreds or even thousands of data tables, which no human being can keep in their head. It's too many. And we connect dots. So every time we add something to our software, it gets easier to use and more automated. That's the difference. So instead of getting more complicated and harder, as they build more stuff, it gets easier. So it's a totally different way to build software. And that's what makes really the true difference between our software is the code. It's just different way of doing it and a much better foundation from the very beginning. And the fact that I'm in the trades and I know what every one of you do every day. I've been in every chair that you guys have ever sat in, guys and girls. So I understand the business, and I'm fortunate enough that I can stop my daily grind of running a business and actually sit back and think about these things and try to solve them. And so that's what makes our software different. I'm you. I experience what you experience. Let's see, 781, is that for techs that also sell replacement systems? That is correct. We don't have any salespeople in our company. I've never hired a salesperson in my 30-year career. We let our techs do everything. In my opinion, who knows more about an air conditioner than a tech? Who knows more about selling a water heater than a plumber? Just never had a salesperson. Please do the podcast on the pay. I'll let Alan set that up and get that word out to you guys. We'll get that one going. I think you're going to love that one. Tell everybody you know, don't miss it. Do you show how you pay in the Sera Academy? You know what? I have to look. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if we put that in there yet or not. So the answer right now is I'm not sure. Let's see. But we need the tech to be able to clock in and out for the Sera. But we need the tech to tech. Yes, you're correct. And that's the time card thing that we're working on right now. So that should be out here soon as well. We build things, we wanted to get job costing time handled before we handled the actual tech. And so now we'll move on to that. It sounds like it's the same thing, but it's not. So yes, we'll be able to do that. We can already do that if you want to use Zapier. I mean, we've already connected up with other payroll processing, time cards, whatever. You can do it. It's pretty simple. It's just not internally in Sera, even though with Zapier, it's basically internally. Let's see. A lot of software built. Okay, Rick said a lot of software is built on old, outdated code with a poor foundation. Finding the one that is not is what is tough to do. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, there's only a handful of us out there doing the full FSM thing. So I can tell you the other ones aren't. We're not doing it that way. That's proven. We've seen, we can tell, we can look at it and tell. So there's only one place that does it like this. That's our way of doing it. Everyone else built the exact same thing. They just put a different color on it, different name. It's one does a lot more than others. Some do less, but it's the same foundation. Every one of them exactly the same. Okay, I think that's all the questions I have so far.
That's fantastic, Billy. I tell you, and anyone that has joined us today, and thanks everyone for throwing some great questions there. And yeah, I think that look, as far as the next podcast goes, I'm happy to stick on a couple of topics, and definitely the pay, the whole pay, the way that you pay is quite unique, and obviously you'll talk about what you're able to, because I think it's probably going to be more information than one podcast, but I'm right in saying that. But yeah, so you give me some dates, we'll make it happen before I shoot down under. Just had some news. My daughter gave birth to my second grandson.
Congratulations.
Yesterday at 7 weeks premature. He weighs all of 2 pounds. Like a tiny little thing, but healthy. And I found out that I was born at the same. So yeah, I'm heading back down under in a few weeks. I'm gonna head to Dallas and catch up with you and a few other folks from Service Roundtable. So if we can do it within the next 3 weeks, we will. And I'll let everyone tell me what they would like to for me to hold the podcast about, besides the pay thing, which is a great subject. So thanks again, Billy, for joining us. And yeah, so before we sign off, is there any one last question, or is that us for today? Looks like everyone's got the questions are out. Thanks for joining us, everyone who took time out of their busy day.
Appreciate you coming. Yeah.
Thank you, Billy. Always grateful for your time. And for anyone that wants further Any further information from me at servicesuccessacademy.com and Pipeline to Profitability podcast. I'm here for you as well as Billy, and thanks for joining us. And everyone, have a great day, and look forward to chatting to you all soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Billy.
Have a great
Thanks
week.
for everyone.